Let me ask you something. Have you ever avoided asking for something just because you were afraid of being rejected? Most people run from rejection like it's a curse. But what if I told you that rejection is actually one of the fastest ways to grow happier, more confident, and emotionally stronger? That's right. Every no you face is training for your brain. Today, I'm going to share 6 simple rejection habits that will bring you happiness, boost your confidence, and make 2026 your most empowered year yet. Habit 6 is the one most people avoid, but it creates the biggest transformation. All right, the first habit you really need to take with a positive mindset is habit number 1. Ask for what scares you. The first rejection habit is quite simple. Ask for what scares you. Most people stay comfortable, never asking for opportunities that feel out of reach. But neuroscience shows that stepping outside your comfort zone triggers dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical, boosting motivation and confidence. When you face fear and take action anyway, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and emotional control, strengthens. This makes future challenges easier, less stressful, and even enjoyable. So here's what you have to do. Identify one small, uncomfortable request today and ask for it. It could be a favor, feedback, or a new opportunity. Success will spike your confidence instantly. Failure? It's a brain workout. However, it will teach resilience, emotional control, and reduce your sensitivity to future rejection. Studies show that people who intentionally take small risks are significantly happier and more confident over time because their brains learn to associate bold action with reward, not fear. This is how rejection becomes a tool, not a threat. Don't overthink it, just do it. Pick one action today. Take that bold step and feel your brain rewire itself for growth. Small habit, huge long-term payoff. Stay with me because the next habit flips failure into confidence, and most people never use it. Habit number 2, hear the number. Habit 2 is about mastering the one thing most people fear, hearing no. Interestingly, rejection isn't just an emotional sting. The brain literally treats it like physical pain. Functional neuroimaging shows that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain, meaning your brain processes rejection as a real threat response. But here's the twist. This pain response doesn't mean rejection is purely destructive. A large meta-analysis of 88 experimental studies found that rejection lowers self-esteem, but it doesn't shut down motivation. Instead, it motivates us to restore control and belonging. Repeated exposure to no builds emotional resilience. People who learn to expect and normalize rejection show reduced amygdala, stress responses, and stronger prefrontal cortex regulation, the parts of your brain involved in emotional control and long-term planning. If hearing no still hits hard for you, tap like right now so you know you're not alone. This happens to everyone. So, every time today that you get a no, and you will, say confidently to yourself, "No doesn't break me." Just 3 seconds. That simple acknowledgement trains your brain to turn emotional setbacks into strength. Over weeks, your stress response lowers and you stop taking rejection personally. Psychologists call this desensitization, as your brain rewires to respond with calm instead of panic. The best part? This micro habit takes only seconds, but the results compound. And trust me, this skill translates to happiness, confidence, and long-term emotional stability. Now that you've learned to survive rejection, it's time to use it to your advantage. Habit number 3, celebrate small failures. Most people treat failure like it's toxic, but your brain doesn't see it that way. It treats failure as information. Research shows our neural circuits don't just respond to rewards. They learn from disappointment and from the gap between what we expect and what actually happens. Dopamine isn't just released when you succeed. Certain dopamine neurons fire after failure, pushing you to adjust, adapt, and try again. Your brain's learning system depends on these error signals to improve future outcomes. A massive review of studies covering over 550,000 people found that facing adversity builds resilience as long as you have protective factors like self-control and a positive self-image. Failure makes your brain smarter if you face it head-on. Research shows that people who can handle setbacks develop stronger self-esteem, sharper thinking, and a mental shield against stress and depression. Try something today that might fail. Pitch an idea, ask for feedback, or take on a challenge bigger than your comfort zone. When it doesn't go your way, acknowledge it, write down what happened, and pull out at least one lesson. This trains your prefrontal cortex to see setbacks as data, not punishment. Over time, your brain stops fearing failure and starts using it as a shortcut to confidence and growth. Coming up, this one might sound absurd to you, but it is incredibly powerful if you practice it. Start writing down every rejection. Habit number 4, rejection journaling. Most people hate rejection because it's messy, painful, and confusing. But there's a simple way you can turn that pain into power. When rejection hits you, a no, a loss, something that bruised your pride, you write it down. Not in your head, but on paper. You write 3 things: what happened, what you felt, and what you learned. No drama, no overthinking, just facts. Research published in Psychological Science shows that expressive writing reduces emotional stress and improves mental clarity. Another study from the University of Texas found that people who journal after emotional events have better emotional control and lower anxiety. Journaling separates your identity from the outcome. When you write, you stop saying, "I was rejected," and start seeing, "This situation didn't work." That shift matters. Your brain analyzes what happened rather than letting it fester and grow worse when you put your experience into words. If you want to try this tonight, save this video so you remember the 3 steps: what happened, what you felt, what you learned. That's true emotional control, from being a victim of rejection to someone who grows from it. According to the American Psychological Association, reframing negative events lowers cortisol levels and improves long-term resilience. Most people replay rejection in their head for days. Journaling cuts that cycle short. 10 minutes, pen and paper, no filters, no lies, just truth. If you don't process rejection, it controls you. If you write it out, you take the power back. Moving on, the next habit teaches your brain to reframe them as learning opportunities. Habit number 5, rejection into curiosity. Stop treating rejection as proof you suck. Psychologically, rejection triggers our brain's threat response and can make us expect the worst, which causes anxiety and depression. People high in rejection sensitivity tend to overinterpret neutral events as personal failure and start hating themselves, getting back into their comfort zone. However, instead of "why did this happen to me?" ask "why not me?" Not in a blame game, but in a curious, data-seeking way. Curiosity is a character strength habit that is tied to life satisfaction, better relationships, and overall health. A curious mindset broadens how you think under stress, part of the broaden and build theory, helping you explore options rather than shrink from them. Instead of dwelling on "I'm rejected," curiosity drives you to ask, "What can I learn? What patterns do I see? What can I test next?" This is cognitive reappraisal, a proven strategy to reduce negative emotions and build resilience by reshaping how you interpret setbacks. Make this real. When you get a rejection, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself 3 honest questions. What can I learn from this? Why not me? How can I improve next time? Push your brain to investigate. This simple switch transforms rejection from a wall into a clue, an evidence point you can learn from and grow with. Finally, it's time for the boldest habit, the one that transforms happiness the most. Habit number 6, seek big rejections. If you want real happiness in 2026, stop hiding from rejection. Seek it out on purpose. This is the habit most people avoid. And that's exactly why it works. Start chasing big rejections on purpose. Apply for the role you think you're not ready for. Pitch the client you assume will say no. Ask the question you're scared to ask. Rejection isn't the enemy. Playing safe is. Psychology backs this up. A study from Jia Jiang, who intentionally sought rejection for 100 days, showed that repeated rejection reduced fear, built confidence, and increased emotional resilience. His biggest takeaway? Rejection hurts far less than we imagine, and avoidance hurts more. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people overestimate how painful rejection will be by up to 40%. Your brain lies to protect you, and that lie keeps you small. Plus, according to Stanford research on growth mindset, people who treat failure as feedback are more likely to succeed long-term than those who avoid risk altogether. Big rejections stretch your nervous system. They teach you emotional control. They kill overthinking. And every no builds proof that you'll survive. So stop waiting to feel ready. Pick one bold request that scares you and ask for it. Go get rejected on purpose. Over time, your brain learns to associate risk with reward and growth rather than fear. You'll notice that the anticipation of bold action becomes energizing and rejection no longer triggers panic. This is habit 6, 5 seconds to ask, but a lifetime of emotional transformation. Rejection doesn't steal your happiness. Avoiding life does. These 6 habits will train your brain to stay calm and confident, no matter the outcome. Start small, stay consistent, and let every no shape a better version of you. If this helped you, like the video, share it with someone who fears rejection, and comment below, which habit will you try first in 2026?